James the Red Engine likes to pull coaches. He thinks he's as good as Gordon, but Gordon thinks otherwise. We may be friends, James, but I'm the only one who pulls the express regularly. I bet I could pull a more important train than you. I'm already pulling the local. The two engines looked at Henry. Anyway, James, just stick to your branch line trains while I pull my express. The three engines went to sleep. The next morning, Sir Topham Hatt came to see the engines. James will go to work at Wellsworth with Edward for the day. He says the yard is a mess and needs another engine to help. Fine, groaned James, and he puffed away. When he arrived at Wellsworth, it was a mess. Let's get to work, James, said Edward as he puffed up alongside them. He biffed and bumped the cars. Ouch, quit it, they said. Move, you, James replied. Remember what I told you about cars, said Edward. They'll pay you out if you're not careful. Well, it's not like they can move on their own, replied James. Edward sighed and kept working. James remembered Gordon was supposed to come through at any moment. He lined some vans and hid on another lane out of view. Just then Gordon came to stop at the station. The yard still looks like a mess. Say, where's James? Oh, well, James is right here, and he pulled the vans out of the way. Gordon laughed and puffed away. Thanks a lot, Edward, grumbled James. There's no shame in shunting, James, replied Edward. It is for me. For the next few hours the yard was getting more and more organized, and finally their work was done. Great job, James, said Edward. It wasn't that bad. You're right, replied James. It wasn't. That afternoon the engines returned to the sheds. Gordon and Henry laughed to themselves. What's so funny? Shunting, Henry trailed off. What's so funny about shunting? Not you, Edward. James. We thought he was one of us, grunted Gordon. What's all this about, James? James stuttered and blew a cloud of steam. James chuffed out of tin with sheds while Gordon and Henry gave him a stern stare. James went to sleep next to one of the platforms in the station. James was about to fall asleep when he could see an engine shunting coaches in the line next to him, but before he could say anything he fell asleep. The next day he woke up to see Sir Topham Hatt in front of him. Hello, sir. Hello, James. Next to you you could see a pair of bright red coaches. What are they for? For you, of course. James gasped. Are you sure, sir? Yes, I'm sure, and two engines are here to give you an apology. He walked away, and Henry and Gordon puffed up in front of him. We're sorry we treated you like that last night. That's okay, Gordon. I suppose I'll take my coaches to the platform. But don't get used to shunting for too long, said Gordon. Me and Henry have a plan. But I won't say any more, for I shall spoil the next story.